welcome back to our own devices with Nandagopal Rajan. This time again, we have another guest, a guest from the world of computing. Because as you've seen in the pandemic, computing has become so important to our lives. It's what's actually saving our jobs for most of us. And we have with us Mr. Arnold Su, who's with Asus as the business head for consumer and gaming PCs. And Asus, as you know, is a company that's very well known in India, but is also becoming even more popular in the past few years because it now has a lot of devices which are much more affordable. It enters different types of use cases from gaming to business laptops to entry-level laptops. And of course, always has a very stylish design, whatever they do. So, Mr. Su, welcome to the show.
Hi, Nandagopal. Thanks for having me here. And all the audience here, nice to see all of you.
So if I can start by asking you, Arnold, on the pandemic, and how do you think the entire laptop segment has evolved during the pandemic? One, you had a sudden jump in demand because people needed devices to be connected while at home. They did not have access to their office computers, for instance. But you were also struggling with the supply side, right? Everybody had issues with supply side. And also maybe the use cases also changed, right? Like how you would have visualized a person using a laptop in a work environment is very difficult, is very different from how it would be in a work from home environment. So how did you cater to all this?
So maybe allow me to answer from the user scenario. As you all know that after the pandemic, that the usage of the PC changed a lot. Now, due to the work from home, study from home, or even you say we live at home only, because earlier, maybe 80% of your time, after you wake up, you go for office, you go to school. But nowadays, after you wake up, you just go to your living room or your study room, turn on your laptop, start your whole day work or whole day study. So when this usage came and how it impact to our PC industry is, first, like you mentioned, the demand surge up. But earlier, like maybe in the normal user scenario, like a student, you may go for your first laptop after 10 standard or 12 standard. But now even the first standard, people start to buy a laptop. So like you mentioned, the supply become a challenge. But what we look at from the industry angle, for sure is after the pandemic, let people realize a mobile phone is not sufficient for the normal use scenario. For example, if you need to study from home, you require a proper screen, a keyboard, a mouse to really listen to your teacher, to take some notes. So what we look at this pandemic to our industries, for sure, first is the overall demand due to user use case change. So the demand surge up. And then how do we resolve the supply challenges? In the first 2 quarters, it indeed is a big challenge for all the brands. But gradually, we are able to start to manage. So even till 2021, our supplies more or less are able to catch the demand.
It also meant that so devices were evolving in a certain way, and it was catering to certain kinds of use cases. Suddenly, you have hit a bump where the use case for most people has completely changed. It's been 2 years, and we are thinking that maybe we are seeing the end of the pandemic, but we are really not sure. But even in the post-pandemic scenario, we think a lot of the use cases might continue to be what it is. A lot of people will continue to work from home, right? Because mindsets have changed, requirements have changed. So do you think how you would innovate a product? And Asus has been innovating from form factor quite a bit for different types of form factors with convertibles and all of that. So do you think that innovation will also change? And exactly how is Asus thinking of innovation overall?
Sure. Maybe I use few kind of key initiative, key innovation to explain. First and foremost, like for study from home, work from home, like you mentioned, even after pandemic, maybe this will still continue for a while, or even for work from home, like recently Apple also announced their employee only need to go to office 3 days a week. So still 2 days you need to work from home. So when you are working from home, like today we are talking to each other. So the mic quality or audio quality become very important. So how does this impact to the PC industry? Like now the AI voice cancellation, earlier it was there in the mobile phone, but now even you see most of the PC brand, they also have this feature in the laptop. So when we talk to each other, we don't need to worry about that. Oh, I need to wear another earphone than to have a better quality. But I can talk to you directly with a better quality. Apart from this, like earlier, maybe you use your laptop maybe like few hours a day. You don't really whole day watching at the monitors, right? But nowadays, since 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., you are just working on laptops. Even after 6 p.m., maybe you also enjoy your Netflix or other OPP platforms. So you are watching your monitor or your laptop whole day. So how to protect your eyes also another question mark to even for sure to all the parents. Like if your children are watching the laptop whole day. So like recently the OLED panel also start to be in the PC industry. So OLED panel provide you a better viewing quality, and in the other side, the OLED panel can protect your eyes by reducing 70% of the blue ray. So like this kind of innovation is really based on the real user requirement that no matter to enhance your work efficiency or to protect your eyes like this. Yeah. So what we look at is in after the pandemic, all this kind of new innovation will continue. And another angle I also want to add on is about the multitasking. I believe like you, sometimes you may join 2 meetings or even 3 meetings at the same time, right? So multitasking also become one of the key feature for the PC industry. So recently, you also see some brands like even Asus, we have the dual screen laptops. So you can simultaneously, when you are joining one meeting and then in the second panel, you can still work on maybe your WhatsApp, you are discussing with your friend or your colleague simultaneously, or maybe you can open another app. So I think all this kind of new innovation, which created over the past 2 years, this kind of feature will continue for sure in the future.
So when we're talking about innovation, we are talking at maybe the top end of the spectrum, especially with dual screens and convertibles and those kind of form factors. But you also had a lot of people who maybe bought their first affordable laptop in the past couple of years because, like, you were suddenly left with a mobile phone and maybe you needed a bigger screen, or your child needed something to attend class. So how did you cater to that? I'm sure there is a lot of innovation also happening at the bottom end of the tire, making things more affordable, and where maybe you're also thinking of making it a little bit simpler for consumers. So how do you think about those kind of products?
Yeah, very good question. So even from our side, initially, we were also thinking all the innovative or the leading technology will come only in the premium segment, right? But as you can also see here, like the OLED panel earlier, pre-COVID, maybe OLED panel-based laptop, at least 1 lakh plus segment. But now, by end of last year, Asus also introduced the OLED panel-based laptop with the sub 50K segment. So this is to answer your question. We also know that we cannot provide this kind of latest technology only on the premium segment, but also we need to bring this new technology down to the mainstream segment or even the entry-level segment. So we already started to work on it. So the OLED panel is one of the area where Asus bring down to the mainstream and even the entry level.
The other segment where Asus is very active and well known in the Indian market, especially, is in the gaming segment. And in the gaming segment, we saw this huge, again with people stuck at home, not having another means of entertainment. A lot of people took up gaming. A lot of people, maybe slightly older, came back to gaming. But gaming became very popular, and gaming PCs also became. And I've heard a lot of people say that he bought a gaming PC because that also is a very good computer at the end of the day and caters to your business needs. So you have new use cases happening in that space. So how do you look at that entire space of gaming, and what are the biggest learnings in that space right now?
First is about the overall market scenario and the market size of the gaming PC in India. If we look back to 2016, just 5-6 years back, that time pan-India, the gaming laptop is only 40,000 units a year. But last year, 2021, after 5 years, last year, India market consumed 800,000 units gaming PC a year. Yeah, it's kind of 20 times over 5 years. So the overall market size increased a lot within 5 years. But you are right, this gaming PC is not only purely for gaming purpose. We also realize that lots of customers, they procure a gaming machine just because they want to have a powerful machine. So when they after their work or their study, they can still play on it, or they can do some graphic designing. So they buy a gaming machine instead of other traditional laptop or tower PC. So what we look at is, for the gaming device, we cannot look at pure gaming. We also need to think about multitasking. How can our gaming laptop, although the base is gaming, but how can we add on more features on it? For example, now the machine, which I'm using to talk to you, this is our ROG Flow X13. This is a convertible gaming. So till last year when we introduced this, nobody considering to have a gaming machine in the convertible series, right? But why Asus introduced a convertible machine in gaming series is, we know that some people like me, I also play games, but I'm not that kind of heavy gamers. Right? I don't require a very powerful machine, but 80% of my daily usage is more for work, or like now I talk to you. And then, but after my work, when I go home, I may play games for 30 minutes, 1 hour. So I still require a gaming machine, but I may not afford to buy two machines simultaneously. So instead of buy two machines, one gaming, one non-gaming, better I buy one machine which can provide me the gaming experience, but also when I go for work, this is a convertible machine I can still use for my work. So this is one of the area where we are looking at game industry. Apart from this, is about the creator segment, especially after the pandemic. The Indian market, the creators like podcaster or YouTubers is increased a lot. So just using a mobile phone is not sufficient to create content. Mobile phone still, although I don't doubt that some of the mobile phone is very powerful, they can still create content, but comparatively, PC is more for the content creation. Mobile phone is still more for content consumption. So we also realize lots of people, they buy gaming machines for content creation, but the gaming machine may not 100% meet their purpose. So we started to introduce the creator series that we still provide a powerful machine, but lots of people, they don't require the gaming outlook. So we have introduced our Pro R series, our VivoBook Pro series, to with a powerful graphics card, but with a better viewing panel or even other functions, like to give like our new Pro R series with the physical dial for the content creators to use. So when we look at the gaming now, we don't look at only pure gaming play, but we also look at content creation. We look at the multitasking, and then we start to create a new segment, apart from the gaming machines, to meet customers' requirements.
A while back, you mentioned how the mic is become suddenly very important because everybody is on calls all the time. But you also have a lot of other things that, like laptops maybe need to improve on because of the remote working environment. Because to give an example, traditionally, laptops have had 720p cameras, and that was good enough. But now, when you are constantly on Zoom and maybe you're competing with your colleagues to be seen and to be heard, then the quality of a camera also matters. So how are you looking at remote working, and how is that changing the product thinking or design thinking of devices?
Yes, you are right. Like earlier, the camera, maybe even HD camera, is more than sufficient in the PC, right? But nowadays we realize, so even in our gaming machine in 2020 and 2021 series, we already canceled the front end camera. We already canceled. But in 2022, we are forced to bring it back because customer asked us, Asus, if you don't give me the camera, we will not buy you a gaming machine, because I use your gaming machine not only for playing games, but also to do the video call. So what we look at it, we know like this, we have to improve. And also when in a new product, apart from just provide a better camera, but what we are trying to do is even we do a different try. For example, last week we just launched the new VivoBook Slate 13 OLED. So what we are trying is, you can see in this VivoBook Slate, the front end camera is 5 megapixel and the rear camera is 13 megapixel. So normally this is only for tablet usage, but we put into our two-in-one device, a detachable laptop. So like you rightly mentioned, we also realized that we cannot think in the traditional way, like in the tech cameras example. We have to change our mindset now. Camera, even in PC industry, become very important. So like I just mentioned, our new VivoBook Slate OLED, the front end camera is 5 megapixel.
So if I can ask you one last question, Arnold, and it's very specific to India. In the past 2 years, how do you think the Indian market has changed? What are the trends that you're seeing? Maybe you have trends which are different from the rest of the world. So how are you looking at the Indian market?
Oh, yes. So since I'm already in India market for 10 years, this is my 11th years roundly. So I really have how to say, I see a big change over the past 10 years. I still remember when I came to India, 99% of India's PC business is from offline channel. Even till 2018, offline channel still occupy around 80%. But last year in 2021, the online business is already more than 40. Even few months already up to 45%. So it's a huge change that customers already shift from the traditional offline channel to online channel. This is a very big change. And the second change is within offline channel itself also changed a lot. I still remember 10 years back, you can say 70 to 80% of offline channel is those traditional dealer shops. Like you in Mumbai, you can go to the Lavington Road, or in Delhi, you go to Nehru Place, very traditional dealer shop. To be honest, the shopping experience at that time was not really great. But if you see in the past few years, even during the pandemic, all the brands, including Asus, every brand are investing a lot to build up the brand shop. So what is the main difference here? Even Indian customer realize that if I want to go to offline shop to buy, I want to have a proper shopping experience. I want to go there, touch and feel. The promoter can explain to me properly how to use this new machine. Like we just discussed, there are so many new features coming to the PC market. Let it be dual screen. Let it be the AI cancellation. How can we explain to the customer properly how you are going to use these new features? How then this cannot be explained properly only via online channel, right? For sure, online channel, they can list it very clearly. But the strength of the offline channel is the real person is there. And the real machine is in front of the customer. So the promoter can explain the machine properly. So what I look at India market is also moving towards the Western Euro market very fast, that people care a lot, that I want to enter a proper shopping area, that all the machines are there. Promoters can explain to me clearly, instead of I just go to a traditional dealer shop, that I buy a box and then I come back home and then do whatever I want. So I think this is a very big change that India's consumer over the past few years is already more towards like the modern consumer.
If I can just ask you one supplementary question on that, is that so? Is the ASP also moving up? Because as you said, the customers are evolving; they're becoming even more mature. Does that mean that they are also pushing up on the price points that they're looking at? They are willing to spend more on devices now?
Yes, I think one thing very interesting. Maybe still lots of people consider that in India's PC market is more towards entry level, but I can tell you it's not. Let's compare maybe India, Indonesia. The average selling price, India is like 30% higher than Indonesia. In Indonesia, most of the people still go for the Celeron Pentium, the very entry level machine. But India, Celeron Pentium, this kind of entry level machine is like 10% of total consumption. 80 to 90% is at least i3 and above. So what we see in India is the India's customer, when they buy a PC, they are ready to pay slightly higher than the average, but they want to have a better quality. Yeah. So what we see in India, we don't consider this is an entry level market. So you know, like our G14 laptop, the thin and light gaming laptop, which we launched in 2020, in India market, we sell more than US market. Wow. It was a shocking news in our headquarters as well. That why? Then we told them that in India, even 1% of India population can afford it. It's a huge number, right? And also Indian people understand what is the benefit of it, and they are ready to invest. That okay, I want to buy a better machine. Maybe in India we still see that the second machine, it will take longer period of time. This is still happening. Like in US, every 2 to 3 years, they will just change a new laptop. But in India, currently, as our study, still 4 to 5 years. So this is still happening. But India customer is ready to buy the more premium machine.
Absolutely mind-blowing data that you have given. Like through the, I usually say that most of our podcasts are very insightful, but this is the kind of data that usually changes your perception of a market, perception of a segment. And thanks a lot for that, Arnold. Thanks a lot for being on the show.
No, thank you. It's our pleasure. Thank you.
This is Nandagopal Rajan signing off again from another episode of Our Own Devices. We'll be back again with another guest and more insightful, mind-blowing conversation like this time. We are everywhere you listen to your podcast.